All right, there I am. Okay, so in this video, I want to talk about the types of pronouns. We've got the most familiar type to us, personal pronouns. Okay, we use these every day. And here in the chart, you see that I've got some terms here: nominative, genitive, oblique. Right, we talked about that in the previous video. All that means really is that the nominative pronouns that we see here are simply acting as the subject of a verb or in a clause. Okay, the genitive pronouns we see, those are just possessive pronouns. And then we've got the oblique pronouns. Those are just the pronouns that operate as objects. Things are given to them, things happen to them, right? Um, and then you see the singular, the plural, and then the three persons that we learned about too in a previous slide or video, right? First, second, and third person. So in addition to these personal pronouns, we also have reflexive and intensive pronouns. Okay, these look the same but function differently. Reflexive pronouns bring the action back. So if I shaved myself, right, which of course never happened, that again the shaving kind of comes back to me. Um, but intensive, it's a little different. So if I wanted to say like I shaved the cow myself, okay, that stresses the fact that like I did it all by myself. I had no help in shaving that cow, right? You've got the interrogative pronouns, which simply ask questions, right? Who did this? Whose is this? To whom does this belong? Things like that. Um, and then you've got demonstrative pronouns, which kind of demonstrative pronouns are great because they actually add another layer of meaning to that. They express the relationship of those things or that thing to the speaker. So, if I say this, right, then I'm referring to something that is, close to me, either in space or time, or maybe just, as an idea. If I'm talking about a political idea, I'm more likely to refer to those political ideas that I agree with like this idea or these ideas, right, as opposed to those ideas, of that guy over there with whom I disagree, right? Um, so that's good. Now remember though, when you use these, the this, that, these, and those as pronouns, right? So it wouldn't be like this mouse. It would be just this, right? When I use it like that, when I use pronouns like that, demonstrative pronouns, I need to make sure that whatever I'm referring to is in that same sentence. Okay. All right. You also have indefinite pronouns. Okay. Some of these, and they're indefinite because their reference is very vague. Just somebody, right? A few. Okay. Um, so that's what I mean by indefinite, by vague reference. Now, some of these guys are always singular, some are always plural, and some it kind of depends. Now, you see the ones that are listed here, the always singular. You've got any one, right? Any one. Nothing, so no thing, no singular thing. Every body, so every singular body. Does that make sense? um, I would want you to just kind of think of it like in those terms, that you're dealing with singular body and singular one and singular thing. With each, if I told you to like touch each of the bricks, you would go up and you would touch each singular individual brick, right? In terms of like either or neither, you would, I'm giving you the choice: either this singular thing or that singular thing, right? Neither this singular thing nor that singular thing. Okay. When it comes to the indefinite pronouns that are always plural, uh, I mean, if you just use them, both things, a few things, many things, right? Several things. Okay. What ends up coming out after is just things. But so think of it that way. Like you would say a few went. Okay. A few what? Oh, a few people. Right. So anytime we attempt to kind of like convey more. I would like many. You would like many of what? I would like many of those muffins, please. Okay, it always comes across plural, so we know that. That's something that we know. Okay, but the toughies there are the half dozen on the bottom. All, any, more, most, none, or some. And if I said to you, like, if I wanted to talk about some of my garden, okay, well, my garden is a singular thing, boom, okay, and then some portion of it, right? That's what I'm talking about. That's singular. If I said some of my plants, then, right, it may seem like I'm talking about the same thing, but instead of talking about a singular garden, I'm talking about individual plants, right? So when I say some of my plants, I'm saying that some of the, right? So I have this many plants, but now I'm just talking about a smaller number of plants, but still a plural number of plants, okay? So some of my garden, singular. Some of my plants, plural, okay? No, if I said, you know, what? Most of my class, okay, singular. Most of my students, plural. Because again, a class is a singular thing, and I'm just merely taking a chunk out of it. But students, it's a collection of plural, it's individual things. And then I'm taking, a plural number, like some number of those individual things out. All right. Now, this is fun. Non-genitive possessive pronouns. Okay. Um, I would think of it like this because what these do, I say my mouse. This is my mouse, right? You have your mouse, I have my mouse. I could also say that this is my mouse, you have yours, and I have mine. What I'm doing with these non-genitive possessive pronouns is I'm kind of taking the my, the possessive pronoun, and the mouse, which is what is being, possessed, okay, squishing them together. So my mouse becomes mine. The reason why it's non-genitive is because, um, you know, I use mine, for example, as an object. I have mine. Okay. So mine in that case, even though it indicates possession, it also indicates what's possessed and it acts like an object, right? I, subject, have, verb, transitive verb. We'll talk more about that if you need to in another video. And then we have mine, so the direct object, right? Okay, that. And then relative pronouns. And this is important. These guys, in class, I tend to refer to relative pronouns as kind of subordinating conjunctions. Okay. The difference, though, the big difference between subordinating conjunctions in a proper sense and relative pronouns is that relative pronouns serve a grammatical function in the sentence, like in the dependent clause, rather, that they join. All right. Um, so that's the thing, right? Whereas, like when I left, okay, when is just the subordinating conjunction. I is the subject, left is the intransitive verb. But if I said, you know, whom I met yesterday, okay, well, whom is the relative pronoun that's kind of acting, it's kind of joining the dependent clause, right? But it's also acting as the direct object. I, subject, met whom, right? So that's the thing with those pronouns is that they operate the same way as subordinating conjunctions, but they also serve a grammatical function within the dependent clause that they join, that they connect. Okay. Now, some points on that. You want to make sure that if you are referring to a person, right? That you use who and not that. That is for object things. Who and whose and whom, those are for person things. Now, when you're referring to object things, or when you're conveying information about, object things, keep in mind that there's a difference between that and which. Okay, that is necessary information, so there will never be a comma. Mm, there will most often not be a comma in front of that when you use it. Okay. But which is unnecessary information. It's parenthetical information, right? So there will be a comma in front of it or some sort of maybe an em dash, parentheses, something like that to indicate that, hey, this is extra information. This is parenthetical information. All right. And there we are.